Hey, welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Scott. There's Dave right over there. Hey. And we are at the last of the original trilogy, Return of the Jedi, or as I affectionately call this movie, Death Star 2, Electric Boogaloo. So I'm just saying, I had to work that in. Yes, this is the Return of the Death Star.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the shit out of this movie more than I thought I would have.
Really?
Yeah, it's,
Now, from
dude,
the first time or this time around?
I haven't seen this in forever,
Really?
and watching it, knowing all this backstory and everything that's been leading up, and us watching these movies this close together, I caught a lot of subtleties and a lot of things in here that I had never seen before.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of interaction, a lot of the way Darth Vader acted, and I'll get to that as we go through it. But this was a better viewing. I've always liked this movie, so
Yeah.
anything I say about this trilogy is it's still out of love because I love these three movies.
Right, right.
So
I get it. I
yeah.
get it. It's
I
the
can
only
even
trilogy
deal.
that
I
matters.
watched the. Yeah, I watched the special edition as well, and I know there were some big changes at the end
Oh,
of it. And let me ask you about that. I know we'll jump to the end. I know the Force Ghost being Anakin is a change from the
oh
original,
yeah,
but
yeah.
before that, they show all these planets celebrating. I don't remember seeing Naboo, Coruscant, all of
No,
these
none of them were
places.
in. None of those
Yeah,
were in there until after they did episodes 1, 2, and 3, and then this
that's
was
what I
his.
figured.
Oh, I'm going to do something again, and look, I can't keep my
I mean,
fucking
it
fingers off the
works.
pie.
It works, but he could have left it alone.
Didn't
It
need
was
it.
it was a little. I was like, God damn, really?
I think on the planet was enough for me.
Yes.
Like on the moon Endor, I think
Yeah.
that was enough. I think that was fine. I
Yeah, and
don't
I did see that Lawrence Kasdan co-wrote this with I forget who else. Was it with George?
can't remember who. I know Lucas was the story guy, but
Yeah.
I don't think he was the writer. I think Kazdan wrote it with somebody else.
Okay.
But yeah, Kazdan, you can't go wrong. Well, I don't understand. I'll never understand why he did not call in Lawrence Kasdan for episodes 1, 2, and 3, other than he was uh, he didn't. What's the word I'm looking for? He was being stubborn,
That he
you know.
maybe knew that Kasdan might have told him, George, what the fuck, dude?
And I think he would have. I think a lot of this. I think Kasdan could have made those stories much better and probably more coherent.
Oh, they're good stories. It's
I
just
think a lot of the
we've talked
problems
about the issues.
that we talked about, I think could have been cured with a Kasdan and other directors coming in and
Yeah.
going, "Oh, let's do this. Let's move. I see what you're doing here, but if we do it this way, we'll get the same result, but different, and it'll be better. It'll tell a solid story." That I think that's where he messed up, but
Yeah.
that's we already talked about all that.
Do you have notes
Um,
today?
yeah, I do. Do you?
I do. I only got like two.
Let's go over your notes first, because
All
we already
right,
went over
notes.
my notes.
Return of the Jedi, and also known as Episode 6 of the Star Wars Holy Trilogy. So,
Mhm. Episode 6 of the Holy Trilogy.
yeah, I already said that it should have been named Death Star 2 Electric Boogaloo.
I
Um,
agree with that. And you know what? Kat will absolutely agree with that because she said a joke yesterday about Electric Boogaloo when we were watching this, and I think it
it's
might
Death
might have
Star
been
2
close to
Electric
the
Boogaloo.
same thing.
It had to be. It had to be. So great minds and all.
She's gonna
Um,
when she sees this, she's gonna fucking crack up.
awesome. Awesome. Cat, gotcha.
Check. Catch your
um,
back, Kat.
only thing, only thing I really now hear me out on this. I didn't like it. It's my only problem with the movie, and not my only problem, but one of my most cringe moments. But
Uh-huh.
it's still okay. Yes, it made me cringe, but it's still okay. It's the fucking musical number in Jabba's palace. We break into song, music
Yeah,
video, and it's like, okay, this
yeah.
is cool. At first, I was like, no. It's like, all right,
That,
this is
but
pretty cool.
you watched the special edition, whereas I
Mhm.
watched the original version.
Okay,
I saw,
so is it
saw it
shorter in that?
It's much shorter. I like the original version better because it does make it more of a hangout, more of a biker hangout kind of
Yeah,
feel,
this was
more of
too.
a divey.
Yeah, this is too
That
glammy.
was that was too. This is a nice bar, and we got talent
It was out
here,
of place.
Yeah, we're selling tickets for this band to come and check it out, you know. But at least they weren't a jizz band. That's all I got to
Yeah,
say.
they always leave a lot to clean up.
Yeah, yeah.
So
We really
anyway,
the
moving on
ever
from the jizz band, my other
uh,
note has to do with one of the things I noticed, and we go back to Empire,
uh,
where Vader is talking to Luke about, hey, come with me. You and I can
yeah,
take out the Emperor because you are powerful, Luke. You can
yeah.
take out the Emperor and we could rule the galaxy together.
Mhm.
Really cool. Okay, right
Yeah,
there, I'm putting together Vader's pissed. Vader
yeah,
has had it with the Emperor, but he knows the Emperor is powerful and he's minding his place so he stays alive. But I got a
right.
feeling the whole fact finding out that he has kids and the Emperor lied is a sticking point to Vader. And I don't,
Oh yeah, I can
they never
imagine.
really. It has to be. It absolutely has to be. So when Luke finally gets up with Vader and they're on the Death Star, and I guess that's where they were. Yeah,
Death Star 2?
yeah, the Death Star 2. We're back on Jedi when Luke finally gets up there and Vader and he are talking to the Emperor. And Luke is talking shit to the
Oh
Emperor.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
fucking digging it. And it's like, oh, you are a cocky motherfucker. But Vader just kind of turns his head over and looks and it's like, it's almost like, uh-huh, yeah, I see it. It's like,
I,
there's a knowing there. There's,
Vader knows shit's about to get real, but yeah, I get what you're saying. He's almost looking at his son like, "That's my boy."
it
That's
is, it
that's what I should have
is.
done.
And it's cool. It's almost like, and I never caught that before. And I think a lot of it has to do with watching these so close to each other and
Yeah,
knowing
yeah,
Anakin's entire story. And that's where I get to. It's this movie when we saw it, when it was first presented. You're seeing a story arc of the villain becoming good, finding his way back home. Really fucking awesome. I get it, but to me, killing all the children is a bridge too far. This guy does not get redemption from me. Period.
right, right. That's what I
So
mean. Like when you tried to turn a guy around like that, it doesn't quite work for me.
no,
It doesn't quite.
I'm glad he did, and it worked until we got the prequels. Once we got the
Right.
prequels and we saw that he killed all the younglings, um, Anakin, I can't help you, man. I
Yeah,
sorry.
at that point you're just like, I can't. Nah, you deserve to be thrown in the pit right behind your emperor at that point.
Yeah, which I'm glad I saw that, and it reminded me of what we talked about when we talked about what's coming up in episode 9.
Right.
There should be absolutely nothing of the Emperor, so who knows how he fucking got cloned? That's some bullshit.
No, no, like I said, in the comics, I got how they got in the comic books, Dark Empire, he's being cloned, and they explain that he's got the cloning chambers and his essence is burning through his clones too fast. So he's
Wow.
trying to get into Luke's body. He's trying to figure out a way to take over Luke's body because Luke's, being so powerful with the Force would be able to contain
We'll be able to
his
hold it.
essence. Yeah, but something happened with the cloning tanks or something, and then Luke finally figures out where his cloning tanks are at, if I remember correctly, and goes in and takes out like all the Emperor's cloning tanks. So he
Yeah.
can't keep cloning himself. So at some point he can't, he just takes them out and gets rid of them. Now they could have done something like that if they would have showed that, but if they were going to do that, you might as well show McDermott. And now I'm sorry, folks, we've jumped ahead into the
Oh,
movies,
way
but
ahead.
yeah, but we'll get to all this, and I'll say the
It's
exact same
related.
thing
It's
now.
related.
The way they said the Emperor survived, well, he should have been Ian McDermott. He should have been the younger version, just burning through his body. And maybe as he's talking to them, you see him getting older and more deteriorated. But when he first shows up, when you first introduce him again, he's younger again. So that way you see that he's a clone and he's burning through and he needs this other body. But they never really explain that. I don't. I'm
No.
guessing that's supposed to be the original Emperor, but they never really said.
No, they didn't. I assumed it was a clone, and with the Force, yeah, I could understand how you could probably place your conscience in somebody. The Force is all everything, and it's
They have to have metachlorians.
no. You know what? Just forget that ever happened.
Have a twitch.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, here we just watched these 3 movies, and just talk about the midichlorians since we've watched
Right.
7 movies so far, or 8. Was it 8? No. Yeah, 6, 7, 8. We've watched 8 of the movies so far. 3 more to go. But the fact that they work really hard, the way the Force is portrayed in these 3 movies is very
Right.
different. Um,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
so it's I like this. I like this interpretation of
Mhm.
a power, an energy, if you will.
Right.
It's not far
Right.
from what I already prescribe to as a human being, piece of
Mhm.
stardust. I get it. I can relate to
Yeah.
it. I understand this midichlorian. No, fuck you. Um, so
Doesn't make any
anyway, that's
sense.
what I got to say about that. Midichlorians, fuck you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, fuck you, midichlorians.
And your mama. Uh,
Anyway,
but I don't know where I was going to go with that.
I don't
I was
know. I
going to
don't know why we
follow it up
turned
with
into
this.
2 black 70s black exploitation stars there for a
I
second.
don't
But
know, but
anyway,
we did a good job at
yeah,
it. I mean,
shit.
for what we did, we did a good job for what we're getting
Anyway,
paid.
yeah, we're all getting paid. Don't hate.
Don't hate. Just don't be ugly just because you know how.
That's right. Just because you're used to it.
Just because you're used to it, baby.
Just because you see it every
Yeah.
day. Anyway,
What else you got? Come on.
that's it. That's my notes, man. That's my notes. Okay.
Get your notes.
Okay. I love. This is one of the things that we always joke about, and
Uh,
anybody who's been watching Star Wars movies is going to joke about this shit.
Mhm.
Yes, the Ewoks are cute and cuddly, but look
uh,
around. They're killers. They are
yeah.
going to eat people. They were going to eat Han, and
I, I remember being in. I was taking an art class, an animation class, and we were all sitting around because what people did back then was before the internet. We sat around and talked,
I
and you
hardly
have a bunch of
remember
animators sitting around just throwing ideas out there. And we were talking about Ewoks, and somebody had come up with Ewoks are just stupid. They're just they're just Muppets. And that's when I turned around and said, no, they're not Muppets. I said they are the most vicious creatures on the planet. Not just that planet, but just about anywhere if you get enough of them. And they're looking at me, what are you talking about? I said they were going to eat Han, Chewie, and Luke. I said, at the end of that movie, all you see are a bunch of empty stormtrooper helmets. What do you think they're cooking in those pots? And they just looked at me and was like, what? I said, they're eating the stormtrooper. That's what they were gonna do. They were
Yeah,
getting ready to eat these
it was
three.
never hidden. It was never hidden. I don't.
It's there.
Lucas did.
It is in such
It's in your
plain
face.
sight. It is in such plain sight. You don't see it. It's like the forest before the trees. You don't
Yeah,
see it.
it's there.
And everybody looks at I know people are going to sit there and argue about this and say, no, 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 they were little shits. You do not want to be captured by any walk. You just
Yeah.
don't. They're going to eat you. Unless you're
Now,
Princess Leia. And
yeah,
that's a whole different type of
knowing what you have
thing.
talked about from the behind the scenes with Carrie Fisher and Warwick
Yeah.
Davis, it's
Oh,
really
he was
sweet.
like 11 or 12. He was like 11
Yeah,
or 12.
it's
I
really
looked it up.
sweet to see their interaction and
Mhm.
knowing that. I mean, even him in that full suit, they've
Yeah.
got chemistry. He's
Yeah.
a hell of an actor, even at such a young age. He was able to emote so much with just some movements. Or
Mhm.
now, do you know if the actors in the Ewok suits made the noises themselves, or were those put in, or just don't
I
know? I'm
imagine
just
they
a
were making.
curiosity thing.
I would imagine that they were making some kind of noises while they were in the costumes, or at
Right.
least saying lines, so they kind of knew what to say to one another. But
Yeah.
I'd be almost positive they'd ADR that.
Yeah. It
You know,
reminded me. I was thinking of that behind the
like Vader,
scenes.
they overdubbed everything.
Right. It made me think of in the Solo movie with
Uh,
the actor, I can't think of his name, who played Chewbacca in it, and
mhm.
Han, how they knew what the grunts were going to mean. He
Right,
knew
right,
so he could play off of it. So I just,
right.
it was just neat to see, knowing that Warwick was so young when he did that,
Yeah,
and just seeing that and knowing how he and Carrie became such good friends, how that
yeah. That's
it's
sweet.
it's very
That's a nice
it is
story.
sweet, and it's been hard to watch these 3 movies knowing that Carrie is gone,
Yeah.
Peter Mayhew's gone, and I'm sorry, I'm sure I know there's more. But it's hard to see.
Yeah, the
These
guy who
are
played R2D2
Kenny,
has since gone.
Kenny, is it
Baker.
Kenny
Yeah,
Baker? Yeah. Kenny
Kenny Baker's
Baker's gone, which is a shame
um,
because
a lot of
that's
a
one of
lot
the
of the Imperial agents are dead.
Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing is definitely dead, but the guy who gets promoted, yeah, Death Star blew up, so he died.
Yeah.
But the guy who gets promoted to Admiral Piet, that guy's
Yeah.
passed away. I mean, you just look at this and you're like, fuck, man.
Was that the
All these,
current admiral in this movie?
yeah, that's
Okay,
the guy who.
I love the scene where
I'm
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
I love the scene where Vader shows up, to see where the progress is on the Death Star,
Uh-huh.
and you just see the actor he makes a big swallow, and he's like, you can see it in his face.
Oh,
And
that's
after
not
what?
Piet.
Okay,
That's Dodada or
okay.
Dodada, something like that.
Regardless, after watching all the other generals or admirals just be killed off, and here's this, oh fuck, Vader's coming for an inspection. I may not live.
Well, I like that he's trying to say I need more men, and Vader's like, yeah, well, you'll have a chance to tell the Emperor.
Vader is more chill this time. Vader is much more. This is a different Vader. This is a much different Vader, and I didn't notice that before. But it's subtle, but he's different. He's changed inside at this point.
He's not force choking everybody. He's got a different. He's got a completely different target now. His target
the
is
Emperor.
to get him to turn and for him to overthrow the Emperor.
Yeah, because he's still enamored with the dark side. He still embraces the dark side, but he just wants to do it with his son now.
Exactly. Yeah, that I forgot that admiral's name, the one that he's on the Death Star with. But Piet
I just thought that was funny. Yeah,
on his flagship. Piet's the guy who was a lieutenant or was a captain, and then he chokes the one guy.
Okay,
and he's like, you're the admiral now, and he's just like his eyes get really big, like crap. Just because he happened to be standing there, he's the admiral now.
Yep. Not a good place to be.
Some distance between me and Vader.
Yeah.
That's what's needed. But yeah, I think Vader at this point had already decided he was going to go hell-bent for leather to take over the Emperor. And he figured if Luke turned, he'd still be able to, make a deal with him, because Luke's not going to stay honest with the Emperor. Not if he turns in a violent fashion like that, I don't think.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, one of the things that I never paid much attention to, and it's going to cause me to watch Clone Wars and a bunch of other stuff, is it is so obvious we're missing a lot of story here.
Yeah.
Between Empire and Jedi, there's some shit that went down that we haven't seen. And
there was Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah, well, I have no idea what Shadows of the Empire is. Dave, tell us what we won.
The Shadows of the Empire takes place between Empire and Jedi, and that's whenever they're looking for Han Solo, and they finally track him down. That's the story I was telling you about. Has the android?
Yes, that's right.
Everything but a movie. It was a book. It was toys. It was.
It should have been a movie.
Everything, but they didn't ever shot the movie. That's why I think Favreau and them and company should have made this Shadows of the Empire into a movie instead of doing all this other shit that they, that's fine. Have Mandalorian.
I know why they didn't.
Blah, but they should have did this. And
it would have been nice.
I'm tired of fucking deep faking everybody. Just go hire people for the part. Everyone will understand. You're not. You're just not going to get these guys. You can't fake these faces. They move like old people.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier because everybody likes to reference Netflix and The Irishman because it's so fucking horrible. Right. But I will say that Favreau really pulled it off when they deep faked a young Luke. I thought it looked really well.
But it was very small. It was very minimal. You can't have him deep faked in an entire show.
Peter Cushing to me was hard to look at. He looked completely fake. I thought it was a good job. Don't get me wrong, but it was it's something. It's soulless. It's missing.
It's the eyes. It's the eyes.
It's the eyes. It's cool. But yeah,
that's what happens in between there, which I love. Okay. And I just when they came out with these other shows, I was like, yeah, okay, but you're missing. For me, you're just missing this big thing that Steve Perry wrote. That's there, and not Journey Steve Perry, just another Steve Perry wrote and has it right there. I don't know if Sherry. That might be the name of the android. I don't remember. But it
Yeah.
explains
Oh, Sherry.
but it explains where Princess Leia gets her Bosch outfit, the
Yep.
bounty hunter that she's dressed up like. He's in the book for about 2 seconds. um, but it's interesting. It's just that
Well,
I
that's.
don't know what that.
Is there anything in? Let's talk about Shadow of the Empire real quick. Is there anything in there that alludes to Leia's force power? Because they talk about it
Yeah,
here.
yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Like it's just the fact that she senses things, and she's
Yeah.
not sure why she senses things. It's like she can sense when Luke's close by, but she doesn't know why.
Yeah.
Um,
They really
she
did a good part in Jedi, at least showing, okay, she does have use of it. She's sensing it, I
I
thought.
want to say that there's a scene in the movie where she's fighting against the android, and the android could basically crush her, but her force power, and she's using like to get away from it. I think she pushes the android or she hits the android with something, and a normal human like me or you doing this would have just like knocked the android and would have been like, really? But
Yeah.
when Leia does it because she's using the like she's kind of got that force stuff, she's she's really given a shot to this thing and
Yeah.
doesn't injure it, but it knocks it like over. And the android when it gets up is like, how the hell did she knock me over? Kind of thing. It was like
Yeah.
thinking to itself, like, what the hell is this? And then they go after it. But it's like little things like that. They kind of, when you know that she has the force, you know how she's doing it. It's not
Hmm.
just, you know, I'm Ray and I'm from, Tatooine in the future from a
Yeah.
completely different desert planet. It was explained how and why.
We get to bitch about that coming up next
Yeah,
episode.
I can do that. And it's what it's not going to be as bad as everybody thinks for me. I do have my problems with that first one, but that's
Well,
different. Okay, back to Jedi.
yeah, well, episode 8, I can't wait.
Oh, I can.
No,
Um,
I mean that's actually it's funny because I talk about our friend Dave who came on the show and
yeah.
hey Dave,
Hi.
thanks for listening, thanks for being a loyal subscriber. Um,
Yeah.
when he
Thanks for
mentioned I
talking
can't,
to us still.
yeah, he's still talking to us.
He's still talking to us. Thank you.
Yeah. When he sent me the message and said, I can't wait to hear you guys shit all over Star Wars. I'm thinking, yeah, we will, but we won't really.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just that is episode 8 is probably the one I'm going to have the biggest critiques for.
8 and 9 are
Honestly,
going to be my go-to bitch
okay,
sessions. I
that
think.
that works.
Out of all of them, for as bad as I complained about episodes 1 through 3,
It's about to take it to a whole new level, and I get it.
going to get real, rolling up my
It's going to get
sleeves.
real. It's going to get real because I'm looking forward to doing this because
Yeah.
I have I absolutely have major fucking issues with episode 8. I don't hold it up anywhere. It's probably at the bottom. But
I
7 and
think it
9
should
I
be
can
taken
deal
out of
with.
canon for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to see what, we'll talk about it. I'll see how I feel after watching it again after seeing all that we have because I've been noticing as watching this, and I strongly recommend to our listeners and viewers to go take a look and do what Dave and I have done. I know it's 11 movies. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
But if you're going to
Yeah.
watch anything anyway, do it. Having like a 1 week apart from these movies has been really cool because the story's
Yeah.
fresh. I don't need a big recap. And it's funny because
Right. Right.
every Tuesday night after my wife and I we watch all the remaining trailers. So we did it again last night. Okay,
Oh, really?
3 more trailers to watch. Yeah.
So
So
7, 8, and 9 trailers you're going to watch,
I
or you're
watched,
going to watch
yeah,
8 and 9 trailer and then
yeah, and
watch.
yeah, I'm watching the trailer every time after we finish. So yeah,
Okay, that's it.
to
You know what?
get
I wasn't
pumped,
doing that. I was watching some special stuff that I'd find here and there, and I'd
and that's
find
what I
some
need to
articles
do.
that I had remembered that I would pull up. But yeah, I do have a couple of notes I'd like
Let's
to
hear
go
your
through.
notes.
I love that opening shot. Once again, Star Destroyers, you know, Vader's shuttle dropping out of the bottom of the Star Destroyer and going to
Yeah,
the the planet moon. Well, actually, it's
that's
the
not a
Death
moon.
Star. It's not a moon. Uh, when he does that shot, that's pretty cool. I like that. The one thing that's always bothered me is Han is in carbonite. He was tied up. The carbonite hit, and his hands are like that. When he unfreezes, his bindings are all gone, and he falls to the ground. But nobody took any of those bindings off of him. I mean, he was.
I didn't even catch that, dude.
I caught that the first time I saw it, and I remember looking around going, "Does nobody? I'm the only guy who's going to."
Yeah, you're the only guy, but I get it, man.
I guess I'm the only guy.
That's a problem.
Shut up. But the bindings, if anybody knows, I don't know. I've never read anything about like the bindings in this chemical is supposed to be.
Honestly, they probably missed it, and if they give you an answer, it's going to be bullshit at this point.
Just like my bullshit answer is they're designed to disintegrate, but why?
Sure. It doesn't matter because it can.
Hey,
real quick though, since you mentioned the carbonite, I thought for this day and age that was a pretty decent effect. They did a good job of thawing him out, because I was looking at it, it's like, oh, that's kind of cheesy. It's like, wait a minute, look when this was done. That's actually really fucking cool. They did a good job with everything in here. That's just amazing. I remember seeing that and going, wow, I would love to have one of those. They sell them now. They sell the Han Solo and carbonite. You can buy one of those and put them on your wall. I've seen that. I've seen I have wanted one for fucking years. I saw one that goes on your refrigerator, vinyl, so it looks like Han is frozen on your fridge. That is great. I think it's a great idea. That's perfect. I would love that. That's great. I like that. But I want like the whole thing up on my wall. I want a man cave, and I want that to be on my wall. I want 2 lightsabers on either side of it, lighting it. That's not a big ask. I think you can do that, Dave. It's a big ask. I think you can do. You deserve that. Everybody deserves a Han Solo and carbonite on their wall. So we're gonna open up a Patreon and or Kickstarter or something. Dave needs a carbonite humanoid. A carbonite Han Solo. Yeah. Where am I? I forgot. Shadows of the Empire. Shadows of the Empire lead-in story is a good one. I think anybody who likes Empire and Jedi, if you read Shadows of the Empire, I think you'll. Which I'm going to have to now. It's good. I enjoy it. Princess Leia, slave girl. No more to say. That's all I got to say for that. Loved Luke's green lightsaber. Yeah. When I first saw that green lightsaber, it went, and I was like, oh my God, it's green. That is cool. Mm-hmm. It's right, because we hadn't seen that except Yoda. You saw red and blue, and Yoda's doesn't come up until later. But if we're going in chronological, Yoda's the only green that popped up. Well, there might have been others, but yeah, when we saw these movies, there was no green. It's, oh, wow, that's cool. No green. That was really cool. But you know what? I'm just going to interject. Okay. I think purple is a really fucking cool color for Mace Windu. Oh yeah, and it's perfect because Mace Windu mixes both the light and the dark. There you go. The line for it's a perfect combo. Dark side and light side. That's just his. I read somewhere that's his. For lack of a better term, that's his religion. Like for Jedi, that's the path that he took. Yoda and Obi-Wan both vanished when they died. Why didn't Qui-Gon Jinn? Qui-Gon Jinn is the one who taught these other 2 idiots how to do it. I know, right? It's a great point. No, we're going to burn his body. We're going to burn his body, but then we're going to discover that he learned how to transcend death. Yeah. But yeah, we never see Qui-Gon's Force Ghost. Nope. And if he's where this came from, because it's mentioned in the Clone Wars, if you watch the deleted stuff, it's there. What the fuck? Why would... But again, that's one of those deals that I think had Kasdan been there, he would have caught that. Right. That's just my opinion. I think Kasdan would have caught that, and they would have figured something else out. Mon Mothma! Holy crap! I had seen this lady last night, and Kat and I just looked at each other and said, that girl's not even related to her. How did I know? I thought the same thing, dude. It's like, holy shit. Talk about casting. Now, what we're referring to, if you haven't listened to the other episodes, is Rogue One. The
Yeah, yeah.
actress that plays Mon Mothma in Rogue One and Jedi look like they could be twins.
It's
It's
freaking
amazing casting.
incredible.
Yeah,
And she's aged almost perfect because
it
you got to
is.
figure
Dude, it's
this
fucking
was just a
perfect.
this is supposed to be just a few years after
Rogue One.
Rogue One. So maybe what, 2 or 3 years,
Yeah, if
supposedly,
even
I
that.
guess that's
Yeah,
what's supposed to be
yeah,
going on.
maybe about right.
So yeah. Uh, you got Warwick Davis was about 11 or 12 when he did that. Ewoks. They'll eat anything and everything. That's
Yeah.
a note that I took. I took that.
One of the
And
things
yeah,
that's really cool about those, you know how they revered C3PO. They thought he was like a god because he was golden
yeah,
and everything.
yeah,
And even when he said, "No, don't eat my friends," they're like, "Fuck you, we're eating.
yeah,
You may be a
yeah.
god, but we're eating." It wasn't until Luke uses his force powers to float C3PO around. They're like, "Oh shit, oh shit."
I want to say in the book when 3PO is telling them not to have, not to do this, that the elder or the witch doctor is basically ignoring him because, well, it's basically tradition. Like
Ah,
even a god can't break tradition. We're not going to listen to you because this is what we're supposed to do. Kind of a sacrifice. If I remember the book correctly, I could be wrong,
that's
but
interesting.
that's how I remember reading it. Um, Cat came up with this, so total props to her. When Luke and Leia are sitting out, I'm sorry, I'm gonna read this, and nobody's gonna think it's as funny as I do.
I hope I
When
do.
Luke and Leia are sitting out, and Luke says, "Do you remember your mother?" And she says, "No, she died when I was very young, of bad writing."
Yep, yep. Yes, Kat, you nailed it. Absolutely, absolutely. Here was my.
Last night, and I had to run over to my pen. I was in the other side of the room. I ran over and I wrote that down. I was like, I gotta write that down. I
I
died when I was very young of
They
bad
were
writing.
30 seconds into that conversation
Oh,
before I realized that she was referring to her adoptive mother.
I don't think she's referring to her adopted mother.
She talks about her that she has memories of her and she was very kind and she remembers that. She had to be talking about her because Padme
He
died
doesn't.
in fucking childbirth.
He asks her, "Do you remember your real mother?"
I thought he just
When
said
you
your mother.
no, when do you remember your real mother? And she's like, "Well, she died when I was very young." And Cat and I
Okay,
both like,
well, see, I
"Yeah, she
missed
died
that.
when you were in
Well, that's what I
childbirth.
scared. I'm screaming at
You
the
still
TV.
keep
Yeah,
your
she
eyes
died in fucking birth.
You had your eyes closed." But that's the problem with that conversation.
Yeah.
If she would have just said, "No, I only remember my
But I
adopted
just
mother,"
thought maybe she never knew that she was not an Organa. I
because
don't
when
know.
Luke tells her that they're basically related, he's like, "Yeah, do you remember your real mother?" Because he says your real mother.
Yeah, does he?
So
Okay.
yeah,
Wow. Okay. Well, I
yeah.
was.
That's what kills me. It's like
That's what makes it even fucking worse, George.
ah. And I'm sorry, I have to stick with the Empire or the Return of the Jedi book, where Obi-Wan has a conversation with Luke, and he says, "I gave you to my brother to raise." It would have explained why Vader never went to Tatooine. Why they put everything on Tatooine is beyond me after that. He should have never been raised on Tatooine. It should have been another planet. The Tatooine, showing him on Tatooine should have been the reveal
Yeah.
at the end. Like, here's the kid. You could have still had everything else happen with his mom, with another species of animal or
Yeah.
alien or something on another planet. But
Yeah. There's
I think the
too much
reveal of
tied to that.
Tatooine would have been great with Obi-Wan walking out with Luke, handing him off. Would have been perfect. And you would have understood, oh. And then in Jedi, if he would have said, "I gave you to my brother," you'd have been like, "Fuck, Owen Lars is his brother? Son of a bitch!" That to me would have been like one of the biggest reveals around. Oh, but
Yeah.
that's me. That's on the moon of Endor. The rebels are fighting. The bearded guy with the rebels I
Hmm.
think he's supposed to be one of the clones, and I think it's either Rex or Cody. I want to know anybody who's listening out there if they know for sure which one it's supposed to be, because he also shows up. A guy with a white beard also shows up in episode. Which episode is the one with the crystal foxes? Is that 8?
I think so.
It's that
No, wait, yeah, that is 8. That is 8.
8. He
That's where
shows up
Luke
there
does this.
too,
Yeah.
and I think he's one of the last people on. I think he's still on the Millennium
Oh my
Falcon,
God.
and he's supposed to be one of the clone guys, the original clones.
Damn.
That's what I've always heard, and I remember reading it in a couple of places. I just want to know if that's official canon or if that's fan canon. Like fans are like, no, that's a clone.
Yeah.
That's one of the clones. And if it is a clone, I think they need to do something with Tamora and age him up a little bit and make him look like an older clone that has to come and talk to Boba Fett, like a clone that Boba Fett remembers.
Yeah.
You know,
Let's.
that'd be
I
kind
want
of
to talk
cool.
about Boba Fett real quick.
All right. Ah! Really?
Okay, it's really interesting watching this because what we're getting is, to those of you who have watched the Book of Boba Fett, we are seeing the moments before the Book of Boba Fett start because it starts right after this movie, right after actually Boba Fett ends up in the Scarlet Pit. Uh, so that's
Okay, I
where.
haven't seen the Book of Boba Fett,
Okay,
so I don't know anything about
without giving a lot away, other
it.
than
No, go ahead.
yeah.
Unless I can buy this thing used, I'm not going to watch it. So.
Oh, I think you need to suck it up. I think I'll send you my login so you can watch. If that's what it takes, hit me up. I will give it to you. Not our listeners. Dave gets my login.
Only I get this log in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I threw you off there. Go ahead.
Yeah, that really threw me off. But no, seriously. Anyway, the Book of Boba Fett, it was interesting to watch this movie. And after watching Book of Boba Fett, I'm like, how did he even survive to get this far? Because in the Book of Boba Fett, he's pretty much a badass. And when he shows
Yeah.
up in Mandalorian, he's a badass.
Mm-hmm.
Here? Oh, wow, you were taken out with an accident.
Yeah,
It's
by
like,
a blind man.
damn. Why do all these badass characters go out so weakly? Darth Maul, Boba Fett. At least we know Boba Fett lives. Well, yes, so did Darth Maul, because fuck it, just grow some legs.
Oh, he didn't even grow them. They're mechanical.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway. Ay, ay, ay. That hurts my head just thinking about Maul still being alive. But it's a good character. It's a good evil guy. There were comics written for a while there, and they were so good. There were two guys, and I wish I could remember the names of the characters, but they were rebels, and somehow they managed to get stuck behind enemy lines, so they keep dressing up like stormtroopers and stuff, and somehow they're in the comics. This is in the comics. They wind up on the skiff, on Jabba's skiff, when Boba Fett gets shot into the Sarlacc pit, and they're like, man, he screams like a little girl.
Oh.
They wind up helping him out of the Sarlacc pit or something.
Oh shit!
And they're kind of making fun of him, like Boba Fett sounded like a little girl, and he turns
Oh
around.
my god!
He like turns around and says something to him, and they're like, it scares the shit out of him. They're like, okay, we won't see anything.
When
and then he walks up, and they're like, man, he screamed like a little girl.
When he makes it out of the pit in the series, he is fucked up. He has had acid eaten on him, everything. He is in bad.
So that's why they
shape.
did his face the way they did it. Like
he is really messed up. And they show him dealing with that. So it was actually pretty cool.
There is a book called The Tales. I think it's The Tales of Jabba's Palace. It's either The Tales of Jabba's Palace or Tales of Bounty Hunters, the Bounty Hunters. And it talks about him being in the Sarlacc pit and how he gets out. Because he's communicating with the Sarlacc at some point.
Oh, wow.
And he's communicating with people in the book. He's communicating, if I remember correctly, communicating with people that are still being ingested by the Sarlacc.
Damn.
And it's like their consciousness is part of the Sarlacc. The Sarlacc like absorbing it. It's really
That's a
weird.
freaky creature. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And then when he escapes, they show him coming back like a year later, and he comes by every year and hovers Slave One over it and hits the retros, and then flies off. Basically, just burns the shit out of it and then flies off because he told him he'd torture it if he ever got out.
Yeah. In the series, he crawls out, and the Sand People pretty much save him, and he becomes an honorary Tusken
Yeah.
Raider, which is pretty cool. Pretty
That's
cool
cool.
story. Yeah. So, but as I was going with it, seeing Boba Fett, watching the book of Boba Fett, and seeing the Rancor and everything, because in the book of Boba Fett, Boba gets his own Rancor and tames it and rides the motherfucker into battle, which is great.
It's pretty badass. I don't care who you are.
Thank you. It is pretty badass. Yeah, the Rancor who was brought to him by Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo. I heard that. I heard about that.
That's fucking awesome. Thank you,
There's
Robert
only
Rodriguez.
one guy that's badass enough in real history to have ever ridden a Rancor, and that would have been Theodore Roosevelt.
I would agree with that.
Other than that, I can't.
I think he did. I think he did.
I think he did.
I think he did. I think he did. You know, it's that alt history.
Yeah, the alt history. People are out there going, "Who the hell's Theodore Roosevelt?
What's a Rancor?
What's a Rancor?
What's this Star Wars bullshit?
Why are we watching these two old guys? Mom, I'm talking with a southern accent. I'm from Massachusetts."
Well, I don't know.
Oh, Skeeter.
Wow. Any other notes?
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. What else you got?
No, that was it.
All right.
The bearded guy is the one that I really want to know for sure. If anybody is out there that knows for sure whether the bearded guy in Empire or I think he's just in Jedi, and then he shows up in Episode 8.
Yeah.
How to Destroy a Trilogy. I think is the name of that one.
Directed by Ruin Johnson, right? Is that it?
Ruin Johnson. Thanks, Ruin.
Yeah.
But
hold on a second. I'm gonna make a full disclaimer here. I know I'm making fun of Ryan Johnson by calling him Ruin Johnson, and we only know part of the story. But goddamn, it looks obvious like he tried to fucking ruin it, and that's all I'm gonna say. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it. Everything I've read points that way. If I'm wrong, then okay. So
everything I've read,
just getting that out there.
He and KK wanted to destroy this, and
sure as
all
fuck
men
feels
bad,
like.
all women great, everybody else is an asshole, and you just can't write a good story. If the story would have been good, I would have been okay, but it wasn't. The story sucked. Ruined.
There's some
thing.
Yeah.
But we're really going. I can hardly wait to tear that one apart. Can you tell? Can you tell, folks? I really want to get on Episode 8. David's just crying for that episode.
Yeah. I am too. Okay, so in advance of that, if you haven't watched it in a while, y'all make sure you watch the movies that we're watching, because it's been enlightening to me. When you get to Episode 8, do yourself a favor, watch the deleted scenes. If there are scenes that were taken out of this movie that actually improved the movie, so taking it out made it worse, changes, and we're going to talk about that. But so just go watch the deleted scenes of Episode 8, and
we'll definitely talk about those deleted scenes because they're
important.
Right. Leaving those scenes in would have saved. I would have saved it, but would have made it better. Harsh.
Yes.
Yeah, would have made it better for sure.
Absolutely.
And
but we'll get to that.
They wanted the cut that they left in would have made it better.
Yeah.
Too. But that's for the future.
Yeah. So.
What I would say real quick, I just want to add, and I know you want to cut it, but episodes 1 through 3, Solo, Rogue One, and episodes 4, 5, and 6, they all fit really well together. Mm-hmm. I know we tore apart episodes 1, 2, and 3, but
it works.
They fit. They make sense. It's the last 3 that don't make any sense.
They don't.
Because they just don't match anything before it. Supposed to match everything before it, and they match nothing before it.
Yeah, and I want to add on to that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm the same way with you. Watching this in order, I know I keep harping on it, but it's been actually really cool. Seeing these first 8 movies, I've got a story that is cohesive. It goes all the way through. I can see what's going on. I feel it.
Right.
We have followed Darth Vader since he was known as a very young Anakin, and that is
Right.
really we saw him from damn near birth to death.
Right.
We have watched Luke. We haven't watched Luke and Leia grow up, but we saw them as infants, now adults, and it's
Hmm.
actually really cool to see that. And then, of course, we'll
Yeah.
talk about the problems with the next trilogy. How it's just like, oh, you just tacked this shit on.
And they
But
did. They admit it.
yeah, they just tacked it on,
Yeah.
and it shows. It shows painfully.
You can't. You have $1 billion money printing empire, and that's what you did.
Yeah,
Disney, you're getting exactly what you deserve.
there you go.
Just
Yeah,
saying.
thank God you
Uh,
hired Favreau. That's all I'm gonna say.
God, and somebody over there get bright smarts and just put him in charge of that whole division. Just be
Yeah,
like, okay, yeah, everybody else you're fired. Favreau,
we're giving you
hire
Star
whoever
Wars.
the hell you want. Start all over again.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a good story. It really is a good story up to Jedi.
yeah.
You know, it's a solid story. Who would have thought when we were kids and went to go see Star Wars that this many years later we'd be talking about Star Wars and Jedi and Empire and all the other stuff, and that there would even be so much to talk about, good or bad.
I
It's
was thinking
still,
that I was thinking that last night. I was like, I am watching these old ass movies that I saw in the theater as a kid.
yeah,
And I was, when I was watching that, it's like these stood the test of time. They are
hmm
a timeless tale, a tale that has granted been told over and over, but this one is
right,
wrapped up very nicely and
hmm
it works really well. And I think it just resonated with so many of us because we had never seen such a cool fucking movie, a whole universe created
right.
um, before in cinema history, basically. So it was cool seeing that all come to life, and I think that's why it touched us so much.
A living universe, one that looks like it
Yeah,
was lived. We've seen a
yeah,
lot of movies where, especially in the 60s and 70s, it's the future, it's space, it's this, and everything was sanitary, everything was clean, everything had a nice flat surface with a little button,
not the Star
no
Wars
no
galaxy.
words on it that told you where anything went.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a good story. It really is. I think you could do a lot worse than watching the what is it, three, six, seven, eight movies that we've watched so far.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. That's it. It is a very living universe, and what's cool, there's languages created for it.
Right.
There's, I mean, and not just spoken, but written.
Hmm.
You see that there's so much symbology. There's one of the things that I've really been paying attention since we've been doing this podcast, but really
Hmm.
watching on these latest movies is the amount of attention to detail.
Oh
Every
yeah.
little every
Yeah.
little thing in the background. There's a scene with C3PO in Jabba's palace, and he's standing behind Jabba, and Luke, I think, is talking to him.
Hmm.
And for the first time ever, I noticed some weird thing in the background moving. I'm
Yeah.
seeing things. Because I've seen the movie before. I'm starting to wander and look around, and
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a whole universe existing outside of the scene you're watching, and that
Uh-huh.
I think that's what works so well. It makes it alive.
It's incredible. The amount of work and detail that they put into this. And again, the amount of work and detail Lucas put into this,
Yeah,
approving model sculptures, aliens. And thank God his wife was still in episode, these three movies because she should have been. That's another one. He should have just bit the bullet and called her back to help with
yeah.
episodes 1, 2, 3. But that's neither here nor there. It's a wish in one hand, poop in another. See which fills up first.
So, I know since we talk about this is the only real trilogy that matters
Yeah.
because that's who we are. What do you see? Do you see a future for Star Wars beyond what Disney has set right now?
I don't see what Disney has set right now making it.
All right.
I really don't. And this isn't just what it looks like from the outside looking in is you have two factions fighting for control. You have a guy
Mhm.
like Favreau who is a fan and who has talent and can get the talent to come in and do good stories. And then you have another section, a fraction that is Kathleen Kennedy, who is doing her goddamnedest, seemingly, to destroy it.
So next week, we approach The Force Awakens, or as I call it, Episode 4, Part 2, redo, because it will feel, if you, yeah, it's Part 4, Electric Boogaloo. If you haven't seen Episode 7 in a while, take a look at it and watch how similar it is to A New Hope. It is almost the same fucking movie. It's disappointing. Still entertaining. So, for the most part.
And you know what? We'll leave it at that. We're going to talk.
We'll talk about that.
But yeah, and I didn't mean to go off on such a tangent when you asked
all good.
a simple question. But I think the tangent was needed because it's the big problem that corporation is having with everything right now.
Absolutely.
They're having that with their parks.
Yeah.
And they figure they can just do whatever they want. Well, I don't know, people, I know not everybody's from Florida, but in the area where Disneyland or Disney World, whatever the hell it's called, is down there.
Yeah.
There's like 6 other big ass parks that people are going to now, and Disney's losing out because people are like, we're done.
And that's the way it works. We like to bitch about cancel culture, but cancel culture goes both ways, So it's like, there you go.
Poop on people. You just can't
there
poop
it
on
is.
people in the belief system from any side. Side. You just can't.
Agreed 100%. We at Old Ass Movie Reviews are equal opportunity haters. We hate everybody. We will poop on everybody. I poop on you. Anyway.
I poop on you. I poop on your head.
Anyway.
Missing head.
Yes. Force Awakens next week. Any final thoughts real quick before we wrap?
May the Force be with you.
And may the Force be with you. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you like, subscribe, check us out, watch these movies, send us a note, anything. Later.